Hi, what's up everyone? Super excited to get this tutorial going for y'all. This is going to be a very useful app that you can use in your everyday life. But before we begin, I just want to get a quick introduction about myself. My name is Dante Leesberg. I'm a self-taught programmer, taught myself in 2020. It's when I started and landed my first job in 2021. And now I want to do the same for others and mentor other people to break into the tech industry as software developers without having to go to boot camp or going back to school. So if that's something you're interested in, I do have a mentorship program. I'll put the link in the description below for you to apply, and let's get this tutorial rolling. All right, so in this video, I actually have a pretty useful tutorial for you guys to use. This is going to help you guys with your studying. We're going to build a Pomodoro timer. So those of you who don't know about the Pomodoro technique is basically a technique where you study in short bursts. Typically, you'll study 25 minutes, and then you'll take a break for 5 minutes, and you'll alternate between those two intervals. So I'm going to show you guys a quick demo on how the Pomodoro timer works. So we have our timer here. Press the start button. The timer will start counting down from 25 minutes. If you press the stop button, it pauses the timer. And if you press start again, it'll pick back up where we left off. In case you got interrupted and you're studying and you want to start over, you can press the reset button, and the reset button will automatically reset it back to 25 minutes. And if you want to take a break and do that 5-minute resting period, all you got to do is press rest, and it'll go to 5 minutes, and then you'll press start and it'll count down from 5 minutes. You can also pause the break timer as well. And then also, if you want to reset your rest, you just press rest. Okay. And just to show you guys kind of a quick demo of how it works, for when the timer is up, there's actually a sound that plays. So let me just update the code just to do like 1 second. So you'll hear the timer go off whenever the timer is at 0. So you'll hear that. Just in case you ever want to put it in a separate tab, you'll know that when the timer is up, whenever you hear that sound. And you'll see that the buttons, the start and stop buttons, are disabled. You'll see a message that says time is up. So the only thing you can press is either reset it to 25 or take your break and do the 5-minute timer. All right. All right, so without further ado, let's get started on building this bad boy. All right, first things first, we're going to build our index HTML. And I'm going to use a Visual Studio Code HTML5 template. I'm going to call the title Pomodoro Timer. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and link my CSS, do the shortcut for CSS, and I'm going to create my style CSS. If I click this, I'll go into my folder, empty CSS folder. Okay, and let me go ahead and start creating, let me add my script tag actually. So I put my JavaScript. Source will be script.js, and let me go ahead and create my JavaScript file. All right, so let me verify if I can go into it. Yep. All right, now let's go ahead and create the body. I'm going to go ahead and create a div to house the entire timer container. So all the contents that you saw, the timer itself, all the buttons, everything. I'm going to give it an ID of timer container. And then inside my timer container, I'm going to go ahead and give myself an H5 tag. I'm going to title my app Pomodoro Timer inside the document body. And then I'm going to leave that alone. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a div to house the actual timer itself, like the value of how much time is left. I'm going to call that timer value, just so I know that's where my time, the actual timer itself, is going to be held. And then I'm going to create all my buttons now. So first button is going to be my start button, and I'm going to give it an ID and a class. So I'm going to do an ID simply to grab it in the DOM in my JavaScript, and I'm going to use the class for my CSS style sheets, for my style sheet styling. So I'm going to give it ID of start and a class of start button. And I'm going to go ahead and do my rest button. And I'm going to give it an ID of rest. And then same pattern, I'm going to give it a class of rest button for my style sheets. And the reason why I do that is because I don't want my style sheets in JavaScript to be dependent on each other. I want to separate them. So if I change one of them, only one element of my app would potentially break versus breaking everything. So that's why I do ID and class. I use ID for my JavaScript, class for my style sheets. This is my reset button. And then last but not least, we have our stop button. And then same pattern, ID, stop, class of stop button. All right, so if I save this, and so far I should just have 4 buttons. Which I do, and then also my title, Pomodoro timer. So my 4 buttons here, and then my title of my app. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the style sheets. I'm gonna go ahead and do the body first. I'm gonna get a display of flex. That way I can use justify content and align items. So I can center everything. And I'm gonna give it a height of about 80 VH, just so I can position it a little higher on the center of the screen. And margin of 0, just to space everything evenly in the middle. And the background of, I'm gonna do sky blue. If I save that, everything in the body should be in the middle here. Okay. And then I'm going to the timer container. Let me just split this so you guys know which element I'm touching. Okay. So let's do the timer container first. So ID, I'm going to I want all the text. I'm going to align it in the center. Give everything the same font size, and then font style, or sorry, font family. Okay, so I've got the whole entire div and all its contents. They're all the text is going to be center aligned, same font size, same font family. I don't have anything in here besides the button, so you won't be able to see any changes until I add more text. And then the timer value itself, I'm just going to position it more in the bottom, more in the bottom of the div container, just so it's spaced out evenly whenever I create my timer. I'm gonna give it 20 pixels. And then I'm gonna do button. So these are gonna be every single button that I've created is going to have the same style. So I'm going to do button. I'm going to do a border radius of 20 pixels, just so they have like that pill shaped look. So if you see here, they should have, if I save it, should have that pill shaped look right here. Now I'm going to give them a little bit of a color and some box shadowing here. So I'm going to do a box shadow just so like they're protruding out of the screen for me. 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 1 pixel. These are the dimensions of the box shadow. And I'm going to do this RGBA code color 6, 1, 6, and then 0. It's just a RGBA color I found I googled. It gives me like a little black shadow. And then I'm going to do margin just to space them out a little more, a little better. And then let's see what we have so far. So they're spaced out, but they're still a little small. So I'm going to make them a little bigger by giving them some padding. So let's do padding. Do 5 pixel, 25 pixels. And now they should be bigger now. Yeah. So now they're a lot bigger and easier to read on the screen. Got a little box shadow in here. I don't know if you guys can see that. All right, now let's give each individual button their own style. So I'm going to grab the class start button. And then give it a background color. Background color of green. Sorry guys, my computer froze. Background color of green. And then a color. So the color is going to be the text. So I'm going to make it white. Now my start button should have those elements. See, my start button now is styled. So let me just do the rest of the other ones. Let's do the stop button. Background color red. I also give the text color white. So now I've done my stop button. Let me do the reset button. Background color of yellow. And I'm going to get the text color black for this one because if you do white, you can't really see the text. So let me just show you guys what it looks like if I were to do white. You won't be able to really see. You can't really read it. So I'm going to give it a style of black instead of white. And then, which button am I missing? Start, stop, reset, and then the rest button. Background color. I'm going to give it background color of blue. And then the text will be, the color of the text inside will be white. All right. And then I'm going to give, whenever you hover over each of the button, I want to, when you put your cursor over it, I want to give it a certain style. So I'm going to do a cursor pointer. And then I want the background color to change to light gray. So you can tell when you're hovering over it, just for better user experience. So I'm not going to save that just yet. I just want you guys to see what it looks like before I add those things. Oh, sorry, I need to save it still. Let me comment this out and I'll save it. All right, so see, like you can click on them, you see them moving a little bit, but the cursor's not changing. But once I enable that style, it's just a better user experience. See, now my cursor, now I can tell which button I'm hovering over. Background color changes and the cursor is pointing instead of just the arrow. Okay. All right, and then now whenever I want to disable the start and stop button whenever the timer goes off, because I don't want the user to be able to press it, because it wouldn't make any sense to do that. If you don't want to press the start or stop button when the timer is off. You want to be able to reset it or go to the rest period. So I'm going to do start button and also the stop button disabled. So whenever the buttons are disabled, I want to give it opacity, which will give it that grayish look. Like it'll look like more transparent. And then I want to do cursor not allowed. So like when you hover your cursor over it, it'll put that, I don't know what actually that sign's called, to be honest. It's just that circle with that slash. Like if you guys play Uno, it's like the skip symbol in Uno. It'll give you that symbol whenever you hover over it, whenever the buttons is disabled. Okay. But you won't see that until we start implement the JavaScript. So let's go ahead and start doing the JavaScript. Let's get this app going. Let's get this app working. So first I'm going to grab the start button first. So start button, I'm gonna call it start button. I'm gonna do document dot get element by ID. The ID is start. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab all the buttons actually. So I'm gonna do the rest button. I'm gonna grab the ID of the rest button, which is rest. And then the stop button. Which is stop. And then the reset button. Okay. And just so we know we're grabbing the right button, I'm just gonna do a quick test to make sure it's working on the stop button, and do a console.log. So on event listener, when I click this start button, I should see on the console message start clicked. So let's test that real quick. I don't remember if I saved it. Okay. All right. So if I click it, and it looks like I grabbed the right one. Okay. Yep. Perfect. Quick test. Test is good. All right. Let's go back to the code and let's grab the timer body. So let's grab everything inside here. So that will be the timer container. And then we'll create the timer value, which will house how much time is left in the timer. So this div right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a message this will hold basically whenever the timer is up, this message will appear. So I'm actually gonna, rather than grabbing from the index HTML, I'm just gonna use JavaScript to create it. I'm gonna create a p tag. So this is equivalent if I were to do this in the HTML p. So this is how you do that in JavaScript. Let me remove that. And you guys will see that in action in a few minutes. And I'm going to do timer sound now. Equals new audio. So this is what's going to house the sound whenever the timer goes out. So in the new audio object, in the audio JavaScript object, you want to put the path of the audio file. So I'm going to create the path right now, sounds work.mp3. And let me go ahead and create that. And create a folder called sounds. And then I'm going to put my sounds. I already have it downloaded in my computer. Sounds work in there. This is the sound that you guys heard earlier whenever I did the demo. All right, and now I'm gonna create the variable to hold how much time is left. I'm gonna initialize it to 1500 seconds because there's 1500 seconds in 25 minutes. I'm gonna do everything seconds based, and I'll explain that. And I'll explain why in a few minutes. I'm gonna create a variable called timer interval. So this will keep track of which interval we're going in the timer. So are we doing the 25-minute interval? Are we doing the 5-minute interval? So that will be a variable to hold those things that will change as we add more features to the app and press the button. So let me create the timer. Let me create the function that will display the timer and call it update timer. And here's my minutes. I'm going to use math.floor. I'm going to take time left divided by 60. So that will give me the minutes. And the reason why I use math.floor and not math.round is because if I were to use math.round, if there is, let's say like 14.99 seconds left, so that'll translate to like 24.9 minutes. And because when you use math.round, it will round to the nearest whole number. So it'll still say, rather than 24, the time is going to say 25. And I'll show you guys a demo on that in a few minutes. Where if I use math.floor, it will just take whatever integer is there as a whole number. So instead of 24.9, instead of rounding to 25, for math.floor, it will just remove the decimal places and it'll say 24. I hope that makes sense. If not, I will show you guys what that looks like in the end. Once I build everything. All right, seconds. I'm going to do time left. And I'm going to use the operator to get the remainder. And I'll do that by 60. So I'll give me like whatever remains of those minutes. The operand. This operand gives me the remainder instead of when I divide. Instead of I do like 6 divided by 3, it'll give me 2. If I do 6 divided by 3, if I use this operator, it'll give me 0, because when you divide 6 into 3, it divides evenly. But this will give you whatever remains after you divide evenly. So the seconds remains after you divide the minute, because there's 60 seconds in a minute, right? But if you guys want to understand this operation more, if you're new to JavaScript, go ahead and look at the documentation. I'm not going to spend time going over this, but essentially how to think about it is that there's 60 seconds in 1 minute, and that's why you're going to use the remainder. And everything's going to be seconds based, like I said. Okay. Sorry. So now I'm going to do the timer value, which is this, and its text content is going to be, this is where I'm creating the timer now. I'm writing the timer, minutes. I'm going to convert it to a string so I can use pad start. Pad start will allow you to append zeros to the end of it. So the first parameter on pad start is what's the maximum length you want the number to be. So I want to have 2 digits no matter what. Even if I have a single digit, I want to append a 0 on there. So I'm going to make it 2. And if I'm missing any numbers that doesn't make the total number of digits 2, I'm going to add a 0 to it. So that's the second parameter. Okay. And then I'm going to put the seconds value. And I'm also going to convert that to string so I can use pad start. Same thing. Pad start only works on strings because if you pad start on a number, you're just going to add 0 to it and it's the same number. So that's why you have to convert it to string. Forgot that there. Wait, hold on one second. Yeah. All right. And then let me go ahead and call the function. Whenever the page renders, so you can see. All right, now I should see my timer on there. But it doesn't do anything yet. See, I have 25. But it doesn't do anything yet. So let's go ahead and implement the start timer. Oh, sorry, start timer. All right, so now I'm going to take this timer interval and I'm going to do the set interval JavaScript function. I'm going to put an anonymous function in here, and then I'm going to decrement how much time is left. So time left, decrement it by 1, and I'm going to call the update timer so it displays so that way the updated timer displays in the screen. And now, if time left is 0, this is where I'm going to clear the timer interval. So this clear interval is an inbuilt JavaScript function. And then I'm going to disable the start button. And also the stop button. And then I'm going to, on the timer body, I'm going to append a message to it. And in that message, the text content of that message is going to be time is up. And then, so here's the reason why I'm doing everything seconds based. So the function set interval, what it does is right here, the last part of it is how many milliseconds do you want this interval to go off? So there's 1,000 milliseconds in 1 second, so I'm gonna do 1,000. Okay, so that's why everything is seconds based. That's not, right? Yeah, because this goes by milliseconds, and I want this function to fire every second. All right, now let's get the start button working. Forgot to call the function, so I'm going to grab the start button and add event listener. Click. And I'm going to call the start timer function. If I save that, now I should be able to start. Now my timer is working. And let me show you guys why I used math.floor rather than math.round, just to make sure we're clear. So if I did math.round, if I were to press the start timer, it's still going to go to 25. And let me just console.log the minutes for you guys so you can see. Like it's not going to count down from 24. Whenever I press start, it's going to count down from 25. See? Instead of saying 25, it says 24. But if I do math.floor, it'll go down to 24 because it maintains the whole number. It just gets rid of the decimal. That's why I do math.floor versus math.round. Just for FYI, just for you guys who are new to JavaScript will understand the difference. So let's go ahead and stop the timer. So this one's a pretty simple one. Create a function. All you got to do is use the JavaScript function clear interval, and that timer interval that I made here, whatever it's set to, I'm going to clear it, and that's it. That's all you do. So just add that event listener to the stop button. Click. And then stop timer. So grab this here and then to the stop button. If I pray that, now I can stop my timer. See, now it's paused. I'm gonna get rid of those console logs also. Now it's completely paused. Okay. All right, now let's create the break timer. So I want to go ahead and stop the timer completely. That way it doesn't keep going down. And I'm going to set the time left to 300, since there is 300 seconds in 5 minutes. So let minute, same thing what I did with the start timer. I'm going to use the math.floor to round it to the nearest whole number. The time left is 300, divide that by 60. And that will give me the 5. And same thing with this operand. Time left, use the remainder operand and use that by 60 to give me the remainder of what's left in those minutes. And then timer value text content. Remember this thing, the timer container, or sorry, the timer value. Same thing, I'm going to, sorry, not parentheses. Same thing here, I'm going to put the minutes dot toString, so I can use pad start, so I can put 2 zeros whenever there's less than 2 digits being displayed initially. And then same thing, or not same thing. So whenever my buttons are disabled, like say when the timer goes off, because when the timer goes off, they're gonna be disabled, right? Sorry, I see an error here. I gotta fix that. Hold on, missing something. So remember, whenever I press start timer, once the time is left, my buttons are going to be disabled. So if they are disabled, I want to go ahead and re-enable them. Just for better user experience. You guys, you don't have to do this, by the way. Like, if you don't understand this part, it's fine. This is just for better user experience on my side. And then I'm going to remove this message from the timer body. So I'm just going to do message.remove. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the, sorry, not rest, reset. I'm going to add the event listener to this one. And let me just give you guys a quick demo on this. So you'll see here that the start and stop button are disabled, and now we have that cursor, that skip button, the Uno skip button, or the Uno skip icon, not button, is here. It won't allow you to reset it or to press these buttons. And sorry, the reason why you guys are not hearing is because I forgot to play the sound. So when the time is left, do the timer sound dot play. Play plays the media resource, which is this thing. Not. There you go. Now you can hear it. I just forgot to, I opened it instead of putting it inside that folder. So that's the mistake here. So you guys got a little bit of debugging session with me. All right. But let me remove this, and then you'll see what happens if I press the break timer. See, the buttons still are disabled, and this message is still here. I want to get rid of that. So that's why I added that condition. So if I do that, everything gets reset appropriately. All right, and then last but not least, let's go ahead and do the reset. So for the reset, put the time left to 1500 seconds for 25 minutes. And same thing, I'm literally just going to copy this here. It's the same exact thing. Put the time left, divide by 60, math.floor, and then do the operand here. Time left, remainder of the 60 seconds. And then, do the text content, make it a string, use pad start so I can add zeros at the end when the number turns into single digits. The only difference is I want to stop the timer. So that way the timer doesn't keep going when I press the button. That way I can use the start timer only to start the time. Keep everything consistent. And I'm going to do the same thing. Remove the message. Remove the time's up message and then re-enable the button, just like the break timer. And now, last but not least, I'm going to add that functionality to my button now. On click, and then reset timer. And now everything should work. Let me just keep it at 2 seconds, just so you guys can hear everything. Reset 25. That back to 5 minutes. Save that. Now rest, reset, start, stop, rest, start, stop. All right, so now we have a timer that you all can use for yourselves whenever you're studying, something that you built yourself. So drop in the comments below if you'd like to see any other content from me. I'm going to continue this JavaScript series with a few more beginner/intermediate JavaScript projects, and then I'm going to move on to React. So be on the lookout for that. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.